The following show is a Pod Avenue production. You are cordially invited to have dinner with the King. Pull up a chair and join WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler and Glenn Moore. Enjoy.
After a week hiatus, we are back. Dinner with the King. Sitting here at King Jerry Lawler's Memphis Barbecue Company. I'm eating down on a smoked sausage sandwich. The King over there. What we got over there,
Is that not
King?
the best? Didn't I tell you the smoked sausage sandwich was so great?
This is I've counted the amount of sandwiches I've had since we started doing the show here. You want to know the exact count of sandwiches?
We're probably going to need a calculator, right? You can put away some sandwiches, Glenn.
51.
Whoa!
And that's more than the amount of episodes that we've had.
And that's not counting the big red splash or two that you've thrown in there and the ribs.
Yeah. So I've cleaned up here at the restaurant. They
Yes, you have, because every one of those meals I've paid the tab for.
No. There's been
right. You're right. I think maybe once or twice.
There's been a couple.
You paid the tab. You did. You're right.
A couple. But we are back. My teeth are fine. I had a bad week last week, King. I couldn't talk, which I think a lot of people would like that if I didn't talk that much. But we couldn't do the show, but we're back for this week. And a lot of topics to talk about. But it's another episode of Ask the King Anything. And
wait. Before we get to that, you didn't even tell them. Did you explain to everybody why we weren't on the air?
Well, yeah. I had a bad tooth. and I had Isaac Yankum work on my tooth last week.
He told me your breath was so bad he had to work on your tooth through your ear. Is that true, Glenn?
I was wondering who was doing up there. But no, I had a bad tooth, and I was on some medication for a couple of days. I was out, King. I couldn't.
I know.
I couldn't eat for a day. You know, that kills me when I couldn't eat for a day. And I was just loopy. The show would have been. The show would have been.
Probably would have been better.
It probably would have been better. Me being loopy, but I think you would have gotten a little perturbed with working with the all.
No, it didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt my feelings when you called up and mumbled and talked to Drew. Were under the weather, bad tooth, and we're going to have to take the week off.
Yeah. So, but we are back. We're back.
Back.
We're back, and
I'm glad to see you back.
Yeah.
Especially after seeing your front.
Okay. Well, like I said, it's Ask the King Anything, and we have a bunch of questions for you, King.
Okay.
And when we mean anything, they mean anything that we can ask you. So if you have a lot of questions via social media, we'll get to those shortly. But a few topics since we missed a week, but not really much going on in the world of professional wrestling. A few tidbits, but this past Saturday you announced on a show in Memphis that Memphis Wrestling is returning to Saturday morning in April. But I think a lot of people are confused, especially a lot of people that follow the show. They want you to talk about it. I think they want you to clear the air on what exactly is returning or going to be broadcast live every Saturday morning.
Yeah. There is a little bit of misunderstanding about that, apparently. I went and had a meeting with my people. Of course, we have the new Jerry Lawler's Classic Memphis Wrestling Show. Well, I say it's new. We've done 4 episodes. Been on for like 4 months now, and but it's on. Excuse me. It's on our CW network here in Memphis, Channel 30. And what the show consists of is it's me and we've tried to have a guest every week. The first week was Bill Dundee. We've had our longtime referee Jerry Calhoun on, Eddie Gilbert's brother Dangerous, Doug Gilbert. And who we have this past week, we had Randy Hales, who is doing double duty now as our manager of the bar and grill. But back in the day, he actually ran Memphis Power Pro Wrestling. And so and what we do, we go back and we look at some the old matches from back in the day, not only matches from TV studios, but matches from the Mid-South Coliseum and that sort of thing. And we talk about, me and my guests will sort of do updated commentary on the matches as they're going along. And so it's just, it's a return of the classic Memphis wrestling that I hear all the time. People say, man, I sure do miss those old days of seeing the Memphis wrestling. So we brought it back. And our situation so far has been, we do a new show once a month, and it will air 3 times during the month, that same show. So and it would air at different times. The second Saturday of every month, it airs at 8 p.m. on Saturday night. Then the third Saturday of every month, the same show airs at 5 p.m. And then the fourth week, it airs on Sunday at noon. So it's different times. So trying to get get the different audiences, different viewers watching that show at least once a month. Well, after meeting with the people at Channel 30, everything's going so good. We thought we were gonna change it up a little bit. We're going to put the show on now, starting in April. We're going to put the show on every single week with a new show every week. And it'll be on every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock, which is the old Memphis wrestling time that everybody in Memphis grew up knowing that, they'd go out and party and get drunk and everything on Friday night and wake up at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, watch wrestling, and then get ready to start their day. So we're going to tap into that. That crowd is still there. That's the same MO of Memphis wrestling fans to this day. So we're going to go back with the show Saturday morning, 11 o'clock, starting in April on Channel 30. But a lot of people thought there were going to be a new live wrestling show. And that's not what it's going to be. We don't have the studio facility to do that anymore, but we're going to go back and show all of these old shows, old matches, and that sort of thing. The one this week that Randy Hales was on, we've had one of the cool matches was Randy Savage and Lanny Poffo with their dad, Angelo Poffo, in the corner at the Mid-South Coliseum against the Rock and Roll Express, where at the end of the match, Randy Savage grabbed Ricky Morton and pile drive him through that huge, heavy announce table that we used to have there at the Coliseum and broke. I think that's the first time that was the first time I'd ever seen an announce table broken where somebody got pile driven through it. But then that was one of the matches that we got on this week's show.
Yeah, because when I first saw the headline that was making the rounds via social media, my thought was, there's going to be, live Memphis wrestling, back on Saturday morning TV in Memphis. But that's well, I did a radio show with a local guy here in Memphis named Kevin Cerrito, and he has a radio show on every week that he talks about wrestling on Saturday mornings, which, as a matter of fact, he told me he was a little worried because his radio show is on Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock. So we're going to be going head to head against his radio show with our wrestling show. But he announced it. I mean, that's where I made the announcement. And what happened was he I think he went on social media and to try to tease to get the people to watch or to listen to his wrestling show, he threw a tease out there that made it sound like it might be live or it might be taped, and you had to tune in and listen to his show to find out what the situation was. Well, I was hooked. I got hooked.
Hooked you right in. There you go, Glenn.
Hooked me right in for the download. But yeah, I thought it was actually live wrestling. But is this going to be? Not just going to be, but it's going to be the Memphis Wrestling Show every week, a new episode. Wow, you're going to be in the TV studio a lot, King.
Well, yeah, it does look like that, but it's going to be fun. Like, for instance, our next taping is in 2 weeks, and I've got Dave Brown coming in, and what we're going to start doing now is instead of doing one show with each guest, we're going to do 2 or possibly 3 in the in the day that we have somebody in the studio. So it may be, and we may bring in more than one. But we're going to start doing. First off, we're going to do 2 with Dave Brown. Then after that, we're going to do 3. Shows on one day a month, and then we'll have when we're going to start it in April, we'll have 15 shows in the can, and that way we'll be able to start doing it on a weekly basis. And also that once we have that many shows in the can, I want to also so many requests and people. I mean, like our podcast is listened to literally all over the world, but only people in Memphis get to see this Memphis Wrestling Show. So once we get 15 shows in the can, I will go to the people at the WWE Network and see if there's any interest in having them broadcast the Memphis Wrestling Show once a week on the network, which that would be cool. And everybody everywhere would have an opportunity to see it.
Yeah. And if, maybe down the line, you can sell DVDs or have people who are not in the Memphis area be able to buy them.
On my website, if I want to sell them on my website and a lot of other stuff on my website, if my website ever gets up and running like we want it to.
It'll be up soon, King. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know I have put Glenn Moore, the computer wizard, in charge of my website, which is KingJerryLawler.com.
Mm-hmm.
And he has promised me that this thing is going to be revamped and we're going to keep it all up to date and refreshed. And it's going to have a whole new look and possibly the Memphis Wrestling show on there.
I didn't promise that.
No, you didn't promise that, but I mean, you promised all this other stuff,
Yeah.
but it hasn't materialized yet. Where is it at?
Well, it takes. I'm not good at graphics. I'll admit.
Now, right now, if I go to KingJerryLawler.com right now, what happens?
It just shows the bare bones of the website without any graphics. So it'll just be bare bones. But
the website's there.
Right? Yeah, but I'm not good at graphics. I'll admit I'm not I'm not an artist like you, Jerry. So. I'm having one of my friends who does.
I'm a good artist, but I like you, am not a graphic artist. I wish I was. I wish I'd taken more time to do that because it looks like it would be fun. But I've never known how to do the graphics like you're talking about. So yeah. I'm not holding you. I'm not looking down on you because you don't know how to do that because I don't either. Yeah. So, but you have somebody that is going to do it for us, right?
Right. Yeah. So they're doing it, and if I would have done it, it would have looked like a little 5-year-old kid was doing it. And we don't want the King's website to have that. So once I get those graphics back from the people, I put them on the website, and then we'll have information on where you're going to be in the coming weeks. Your calendar. You'll be able to post blogs if you want, Jerry. We'll post videos when you have the Memphis Wrestling show for sale. We're going to have a store. People can buy autographs. They can buy. You're going to have a T-shirt for Pro Wrestling Tees. So we'll have T-shirt designs on Pro Wrestling Tees for the King. We'll have a link to there. We'll have a link to the podcast. People who haven't listened to the podcast, but go to the website, so they'll find out about that. Other things that you want, I guess you want to sell mystery boxes.
That's just an idea.
It's
just
an idea.
Thought.
So,
and possibly this is where I've been asked this a million times. We talked about this. This is where people are going to be able to contact me and have me do commissioned artwork for them.
There you go. So all that information will be on the website and the links and the contact form. So once the website's up and running, Jerry, you're probably going to be a busy man. So I'm sure you're going to be flooded with requests and orders.
Yeah, and we talked about that. You probably, I think you may have listened yesterday. I was on Busted Open Radio on Sirius XM Radio with Mark Henry and, oh man, this is start another Pete Rosenberg war here. What was the guy's name that was the co-host with Mark Henry? Anyway, I had it written down somewhere. But anyway, I was on the radio with those guys yesterday, and they talked about the fact that, the website is going to be up and running soon, and the fact that we may be airing the TV show on the website and a lot of other cool stuff. And they asked me if there would be an opportunity because somehow we got on the subject of my artwork, and they said, will there be some examples of your artwork on the website? Yeah, we're going to post a lot of my artwork on there as well, right?
Oh yeah,
that's definitely what you told me, Glenn.
Yeah, no. Well, if you send me the pictures, we'll get them up there, and people can buy them, or you can, like I said, you'll be contact you for commission, and you can communicate prices and whatnot. So yeah, all that will be available simply on the website for people to buy, and
Oh, by the way, it was Dave LaGreca.
Okay, did you
know him?
I didn't listen.
Dave
I didn't listen
was
to the
co-host with Mark Henry.
I didn't listen to the show. Did you dog me out for having the website up yet? Did you dog me out or something?
Maybe a little bit.
You did.
Not too bad.
What did you say?
I knew you weren't listening.
What did you say? Tell me.
No, honestly, I didn't dog you out.
Okay, well, good. Thank you. Okay, so that's going to be up there.
I never dog you out, Glenn. What would make you think that I would do something like that?
Oh, well, you hang out with Jerry Lawler for 3 weeks, you get enough.
Those days are in the past. I don't dog people out. I will. You said that maybe James Ellsworth may be calling later on in the show, and I will dog him out.
Yeah, well, you're wrestling James Ellsworth this Friday up in the Baltimore area. I think James.
I have got an unbelievably busy weekend coming up here.
Yeah, well, James is supposed to call in a little bit later, so we'll talk about your weekend a little bit later. And if James calls in on time, which I'm sure he was because he loves the pub,
that's all he wants.
You guys can talk about your match, but we have some talking points to talk about. Well, speaking of being hooked, like I was with the Memphis Wrestling announcement, Michael Cole was hooked on the Corey Graves Booker T quote unquote heat that these two were having. Did you hear about that, King?
I heard a little bit about it, but I was never hooked. Are you serious? You bought into that?
Oh, me? No, I wasn't hooked on it. I think a lot of people were. People legitimately thought that Booker T wanted to beat up Corey Graves. I think there's a little bit, though. I think there may be a little bit of that. I don't think you start that without.
Why? I mean, why would there be heat between two guys that work together every single week on the same show?
Well, I mean, just because you work together doesn't mean you have to like them, right?
Yeah, but you usually do, you know.
Well, I'm sure there's people you've worked with in the past that you.
Okay, you're right, Michael Cole. No, I pretty much like Michael Cole.
No, Michael Cole seems like a good guy.
Yeah, but anyway.
But no, I mean,
Corey Graves. You know what? We had a situation like that as well. When Corey came along, and it was almost like he took my place on one of the shows there, and so I forget what city it was in, but we had a match. I had a match against Corey Graves' brother somewhere up in Northeast Wrestling show up there, and I was wrestling Corey Graves' brother, and Corey Graves was at ringside doing commentary on the match that we had, and then he wound up getting involved in the match, and it seemed like there was some bad blood between he and I. I think he said something about now that I was in the past and he was the new top commentator there on Raw. And I believe I told him that I could eat a can of alphabet soup and crap better commentary than he does.
Well, Corey listens to the podcast. He's one of the listeners in the WWE, along with James, who's a loyal listener. Corey is a loyal listener of the show. But yeah,
probably just tells you that.
I mean, he knows a lot about the show. We DM on Twitter, but
cool.
But he knows.
You know what I did really enjoy? I really enjoyed doing the Royal Rumble match, the men's Royal Rumble match with Corey and Cole. It was like, I got to admit, I hadn't called a match in a long time there, and I was a little, I don't know, not nervous. I wasn't really nervous, but I was hoping that things went well, and when you work with three guys, and sometimes you have a four-guy booth, but luckily we just had three guys there, and I thought Corey did. When you're working a broadcast show and you're one of three or four guys in the booth, you got to really be cognizant of other guys' space and other guys' time. And Michael, if you go back and listen to, Michael is great at directing traffic, is what we like to call it. Michael will preface a question by he'll let you know who the question is for or who he's talking to, like King, well, in your experience, this or that happened or whatever, or Corey, when you're doing this or whatever, and so he did a great job of that. But Corey did a great job of I thought, kind of letting me shine, because I was there as the special guest commentator, and I thought there could have been a situation if there was a clash of personalities or whatever, where a guy wouldn't want somebody else to step in and shine in that situation. But Corey and Michael were both great on that, and I really enjoyed doing that match, and I thought it turned out really well.
No, I like Corey on commentary. I just wish the guys would show more personality, like you and JR. They have more personality. Even though that they're commentators, they still had a persona. And it seems like it's just three guys calling a match.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for that. You are who you are when you're on the air. Yeah. And JR just had such passion. And then when you're working with JR, that passion and that excitement and that kind of thing would rub off onto me. And especially then, it was so much fun to be an antagonist to JR when he was, when he was so into the things that he was into. He would really. It seemed like it was so easy to push his buttons and get him even more intense about different things, about different characters or matches and that sort of thing. I just this morning, somebody sent me, and I realized when I looked at it, there are a lot of these out there, but somebody sent me a link to YouTube where I think it's called JR and the King, or JR Fails, Wrestling Fails. that sort of thing. I didn't even realize so many of these things are out there, but there's just somebody has put together a lot of different clips of people doing things that don't turn out well, like jumping off the side of a building onto the ground, or something. I don't know, just all kind of different things that don't end well. And they've put the commentary of JR and I, to all of these videos. And somebody just sent me one about 2 minutes long this morning that I was watching. And I couldn't help but laugh the way, but the thing that it really stood out was the intensity and the passion that JR and I, I'm 90% of mine is just screaming, or laughing at somebody that was doing something stupid. But JR's in there going, "Oh my God, he's dead," or "That's don't please, there are people in there." It was just, it was great stuff and fun to watch. But it just reminded me of how passionate JR was on his calls of matches.
Yeah, I there's videos that are rampant on anything that like newsworthy happens in sports or any collision that happens. Somebody always puts commentary of you and JR over it.
That's cool. I didn't realize all that was out there, but there is a lot out there.
Have you explored what Reddit is yet? We talked about it 2 weeks ago. Reddit, the website with all the things you can imagine. It's on Reddit, King. Anything you can.
No, I have not. I've still not looked at Reddit.
All right. Well, you need to take a look. I'll show you when we get done here.
I don't even know how to spell it, much less look for it. What is it? REDDIT?
Yeah, there you go. Anything you want, King. And I mean anything.
Reddit.com.
There is no filter on Reddit.
What do you mean anything you want?
King. Give me a topic, and I'll tell you if it's on Reddit.
A topic. Let's see.
And people who are also on Reddit, they know it's true because, you can find... Well, I'll whisper it. Well, no, I'm not going to say it. There's kids around. It's that bad, King.
Well, by a topic, you mean like I'm just like looking around my house and I see over there, I see my Norman Rockwell original, piece of art by Norman Rockwell. Is Norman Rockwell, anything about Norman Rockwell, who's the greatest artist and illustrator in the history of the world, is there anything about Norman Rockwell on Reddit?
There is a forum. There is a forum that is dedicated to accidental Norman Rockwell photographs. So, how he has a particular way that he made his, his artwork.
Sure.
It's like...
everybody knows a Norman Rockwell painting when they see one.
It's like if you took a photo, King, of something, and it looks like a Norman Rockwell painting. So people have taken photos, and it looks like it's a painting. So there's a whole Reddit devoted to people taking.
And see, that would be interesting to me. I'll check that out in a little bit.
Yeah.
So what else? Like if you look up Jerry Lawler, what's on there?
Well, there's not. Well, there is
go there, right?
Actually, King. No, there is a whole forum dedicated to your commentary.
A forum.
Yes, people have posted. People who.
And then people go on there and talk back and forth to each other.
Well, people go on. Well, yeah, they can talk back and forth, but there is a whole. It's called Jerry Lawler Jokes.
Really?
And I think I've shown you this before, but it's basically your jokes. People watch Raw or they watch old matches that you could do commentary on. For example, Ric Flair hasn't aged well. I guess time wounds all heals.
I remember saying that.
So,
time
what else?
All healed.
Yeah,
that's good.
Let's see. There's a whole. Why? Well, there's like jokes. There's also jokes that people make up that are like Jerry Lawler jokes.
Okay.
So here is one. Why is Jerry Lawler banned from Mexico?
Oh Lord, why?
He has Latino heat.
Oh, brother.
So there's a whole Reddit dedicated to Jerry Lawler jokes. See, there's anything.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check out Reddit.
Yeah. So, but don't go to the dark Reddit. Don't go there, King.
Oh Oh man! And now you know I'm going to go to dark Reddit now.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that bad?
I mean,
bad
it's
stuff?
just naughty stuff.
Oh, okay.
Naughty
Let's don't talk about that. Let's don't start
Yeah.
talking about naughty stuff.
No.
Speaking of naughty stuff, and speaking of Ric Flair, though, what did I hear about Ric Flair and something about Space Mountain contracts or something for Valentine?
Boy. Well, we talked about your website and how you're going to sell stuff, and you can sell anything you want, King. I mean, you can sell anything you want from, well, we can sell pictures to, koozies.
Yeah, but will anybody buy stuff? That's the question. I hear it all the time. I'll be in a wrestling match and I'll do a drop kick or something, and people will start chanting, "You still got it. You still got it." And I say, "Yeah, I still got it, but the problem is nobody wants it."
Oh.
But anyway, so you think we could sell stuff? You think people will actually be interested in buying some stuff?
Yeah, if it's unique. I mean, if it's unique and it has your name on it or your gimmick, I mean, the King,
Okay.
people can, we gotta be different.
So Ric Flair has got something on his website that's interesting, right?
Well, not anymore. The backlash
Uh-oh.
was so bad that he had to take it down.
Oh no, what happened?
So Ric Flair briefly sold for $50, King, $50, a sexual consent contract.
What? What?
Sexual consent contract. He was offering a very special Valentine's Day gift for sale on his website. He dubbed it
great already.
He dubbed it the WOOO compromise.
The WOOO compromise. Okay. What did it consist of?
So he was selling a sexual consent contract to be signed by two consenting adults for $50. Now here's what the contract said, and this is via his website. This is what you would get in the mail: a piece of paper with Ric Flair's face on it, and this contract, $50. I don't know if anybody bought these. I mean, I know I wouldn't, but I'm sure some mark out there.
No, because the $50 for the contract would be more than you paid for the girl. I'm kidding. It's just a joke. Hello, Glenn. Come in. Look up from me. Look up. You got some sauce on your face there.
Okay. So this is what Flair wrote in his contract. By signing this compromise, both parties involved agreed to ride Space Mountain and engage in sexual relations on this night. This contract adheres to guidelines of informed consent, and both people in the relationship must be present and not in an intoxicated state before signing. No party shall be pressured or persuaded into something that they do not want to do, and they reserve the right to terminate the contract if need be. This contract has been signed and sealed approval of the Nature Boy Ric Flair, who has taken many women for a ride on Space Mountain and has the utmost respect for women.
Yeah, that was not a good idea. I can see that. But by the way, just think if Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein had a Ric Flair Space Mountain contract, they'd be in the clear right now.
So you tweeted out the photo and the link to to buy it. It says fun and responsibility go hand in hand. Get your autographed WOOO compromise for $50 and be ready for the future. And
so there was imagine that backlash from this.
Well, he also attached the hashtags Me Too.
Ooh, yeah.
And we all know what's going on with the Me Too movement and people coming out with stories of being sexually assaulted, and women and also men saying their stories and coming out as victims. So this did not sit well. This did not sit well with people. Ric Flair trying to make money off the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
So he took it.
Well,
down.
I can see that would offend some people, and like we've said many times on the show, every single thing that you say or do is going to these days offend somebody.
So the backlash is so much that he took it down. You can't buy it. But if you buy $200 worth of his stuff from his store, he'll call you, make a personal phone call to you.
Oh, well, we know where he got that idea from, right?
From what?
Gene Simmons. I just saw where Gene Simmons has got this thing called the Vault. It's like a real vault of everything that he has ever done, Kiss wise and Gene Simmons wise. every bit of music and all of this other stuff, and it comes in this vault. And for $50,000, you buy this vault, and Gene Simmons will personally deliver it, hand deliver it to your door at your house. And I just saw this past weekend where he delivered one to somebody in Las Vegas that paid $50,000 for the Gene Simmons vault, and he shows up at your house and delivers it to you.
King, I don't think there's anything that you have a value that's $50,000 that you could sell like that, could you?
No, I don't think so.
Well, you had the Rock shirts, like I posted on social media. You had the Rock's shirt that he wore during the highest rated segment of Raw ever. This Is Your Life with Mick Foley during the Attitude Era. I mean, you could probably sell those.
Yeah, I'll combine all of this. I'll sell somebody the Rock shirt for $50,000, and I will call them and tell them I'm on the way. And I will then hand delivered. I will show up at their house with the Rock shirt in hand and give it to them, and I'll hang out for a couple of days if they want me to, whatever, for $50,000. So there's my offer.
You gonna bring a cooler too?
Yes, I will.
But here's a twist though. The person bought it lives in Minnesota, and you got to deliver it in December.
For $50,000, I'll be there.
Wow. All right. Well, if somebody wants to buy the actual Rock shirt for $50,000, Jerry the King Lawler will come to your place and hang out for a couple days too, as he delivers the shirt.
Right.
Oh my God. But no.
And I'll call him on the phone and tell him I'm coming.
But we should do that for your website. People who buy, $100.
Yeah, you know what? You just put some ridiculous thing. Then Gene Simmons, I'm sure he was thinking at the time, this would be funny. But then somebody out there bought it.
Yeah, I bet.
Somebody with more money than sense bought it, and so now he's hand delivering it to somebody in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, like I said, for your website, whoever buys, $100 or $200, well, you can probably call them, have a, personal phone call to them maybe. Would you do that?
Yeah.
All
sure.
right. We'll figure that out. So that was a WOOO compromise, King.
Part of the fun of the website, right? Yeah.
The WOOO compromise with Ric Flair.
I'm gonna have to check out the Nature Boys website and see what other. Well, I'm sure he'll replace that with something cool. He's always coming up with something funny.
Well, he has T-shirts and leggings, hoodies.
Leggings?
Yeah, leggings for women. Yeah, he has leggings with his face all over it.
I like it.
You think Lauren will wear that?
You know what? This is no lie. I might buy a pair of them and wear them as wrestling, like wrestling tights.
No, you wouldn't.
I sure would. I've done that before. I've worn Batman. Have you ever seen me wearing the Batman and Robin?
Oh yeah, I've seen that. But
those were
why would you wear Ric Flair?
Those were women's leggings. Well, that'd just be cool. Ric Flair, he's the nature boy.
Yeah, but then you're putting over someone else. You want to put over someone else like that?
I put over Batman and Robin.
Yeah, but they're not wrestlers.
I got Superman leggings. I've got all kind of stuff.
He has T-shirts. He has mugs. He has beach towels. He has koozies.
There you go. I got all that. I don't have beach towels.
Yeah, we got to get a beach towel. He has tank tops. He has phone cases, socks.
Man.
Tank tops.
Like in a marketing machine there, isn't he?
I mean, you can put your name on anything.
Yeah.
So, Ric Flair.
And I have.
Ric Flair condoms?
Please.
No, I'm kidding. There's no Ric Flair.
I knew you were kidding.
We can get the King's Jerry Lawler condoms.
Quit. What are you doing?
Size small.
Oh, listen to you now. I know this is not going to be. You're going to have to delete all this.
Wear the King's size.
What is wrong with you?
Be like the King. Okay.
The King. Listen, here's my old saying. When people ask me that, I say the King is a ruler. Right?
Okay.
And rulers are usually 12 inches.
I've seen smaller rulers.
What, 6-inch rulers or what?
3-inch rulers.
Oh, come on. This is not gonna be on the show, is it?
Oh, it will be, definitely. Definitely.
I'm supposed to edit stuff like this.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, let's get to the questions. We got a few questions for Ask the King Anything. And we're already, I think, overstaying our welcome because I'm getting some dirty looks from the people eating here. We're talking about penis sizes.
Kidding.
But
please. Now, Glenn, I know we're enjoying our meal here at the barbecue restaurant, and you're having the smoked sausage sandwich. I got the ribs again, but we can't have every meal here, and sometimes I get a little hungry between meals. So I want to talk for a minute about a new experience that I've just had. I got sent a box of RX bars. Now, RX bars, you may ask, what the heck is an RX bar? Well, it's a whole food protein bar with some simple, real ingredients. And the thing I like about it, they say no BS. That's what attracted me to this. Right on the package, it's the simple, real ingredients with no BS. And these people say that back in 2013, they called BS on protein bars, which I've looked at a lot of protein bars, and I say it's no way that they could do everything that they claim to do. And what the RX bar said, they couldn't find a bar out there that wasn't full of artificial ingredients like fillers and preservatives and just general BS. And so they set out to create a bar with a few simple, clean ingredients where every ingredient serves a purpose. And that's what an RX bar is all about. I mean, they're great for breakfast on the go, or if you just want to snack at the office. I throw them in my bag for when I'm on the plane now. Toss it in your backpack when you're on a bike ride or hiking. They're just a great bar that comes in 11 different flavors. They're delicious, and they're gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free, no sugar added, no artificial colors, artificial flavors, none of that BS. They just have egg whites for protein, dates to bind, and nuts for texture. I mean, they're really awesome. I want to encourage everybody to try an RX bar. You'll love these things. No BS is the greatest thing about them. They're simple ingredients that are going to be good for you. They taste great, and I'm going to give you a chance now to order some and just try them out. The King is asking you to just try these things out one time. And I'm also going to give you 25% off your first order if you order right now through me. And you do that by visiting rxbar.com/theking. And then when you order, enter the promo code, once again, is the King at checkout. And you're going to get 25% off your first order. And I promise you, this is coming from the King. You're going to love RX bars. Try them. RX bars.
All right, let's go to the questions. We got a lot of people who answered our tweets for people to, throw in their questions for the episode. And let's go to Michael H. wants to know, King, how is your relationship with the Honky Tonk Man?
Michael H. I wonder what the H stands for.
Well, his Twitter name is @MichaelHemprig.
H.
Hemprig.
Well, that's probably what the H stands for, Hemprig.
Yeah, Hemprig.
Well, Michael, I'll tell you what. My relationship with the Honky Tonk Man over the years has been questionable. Even I didn't know what my relationship was. The Honky Tonk Man and I are first cousins. Wayne Ferris is his real name, and his mother and my mother were sisters. And so, we saw each other a lot as kids growing up. Then once Wayne got in the wrestling business after I did, we worked together a lot in the beginning. Then especially once he went on into the WWE, it was never a relationship like we were close cousins or anything where we hung out together or anything like that. He even as kids growing up, he lived in the city up in Bolivar, Tennessee, which is probably about 60, 70 miles from Memphis. So we didn't, we'd see each other on occasion, but not real often. And then once he got in the business, we saw each other even less frequently. So, but somewhere along the line, he said some derogatory things about me online that I heard about and that sort of stuff. So I thought there was, for some reason or other, there was kind of, bad blood. But then much like the Corey Graves and Booker T thing, after a few years of me thinking that there was bad blood, he actually contacted me and said, "Hey, man, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to drum up a deal here where you and I can have some match against each other, and it would really, draw a lot of money with the people really thinking that there's real bad blood between these relatives." So anyway, that really never happened. But then I realized, that the stuff that he said had been saying was just basically kind of a work. But more recently, I just saw Honky Tonk Man I think I put the pictures up on Twitter. He and Jimmy Hart were sitting at the table right next to mine at a signing up in, was it Philadelphia? I think it was Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think it was
or something.
Philly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Philly. We were sitting at a table together, and we talked for a long time. But so I guess our relationship is fine now, but it's been, a little weird over the years.
So you're telling me all those?
But now he lives in Phoenix, and nobody, even Wayne, he doesn't contact even his sister, even his family. They say they just never hear from him. I think he just kind of stays to himself out there.
So you're telling me all those shoot interviews that he did on Jerry Lawler, saying all those things, was just trying to start an angle with you?
That's what he said.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised. All right, let's go to another question. This is from Ben Jenkins, who is a loyal listener for the show. Ben Jenkins 1987 on Twitter. He wants to know, what's your best memory of working with Dirty Dutch Mantell?
Oh my gosh. Dirty Dutch Mantell. He and I go way back. I mean, I'm sure it's kind of common knowledge that Dutch and I were born on the same day, not just the same birth date, but the actual same day, November 29th, a long time ago. And so anyway, he and I have shared that kind of personal deal over the years. And then when Dutch came to Tennessee territory, I'm not sure exactly where Dutch came. I think he was working down in Atlanta before the first time he came to Tennessee, and just stayed. And man, he and I, we had some great matches. I mean, he and I worked together probably almost as much as Bill Dundee and I worked here in Tennessee, because we were both kind of permanent fixtures, and so it just the way it was, we wound up having a ton of matches together. And I think probably the funniest thing, I remember Dutch first told me, when I first met him, he had this real long handlebar mustache that I thought looked like, Yosemite Sam. But he told me at the time that his hero back in the day when he was just getting started and who he wanted to emulate was Ox Baker. And man, I always thought that was one of the guys that I always thought had the best look, the best scary face of anybody in wrestling was Ox Baker, with this big bald head and just mean looking guy and this big black mustache and these bushy black eyebrows. And that's who Dutch tried to look like. But Dutch, I mean, he was maybe the hairiest individual that I've ever seen in the wrestling business, even more hairy than, what was George the Animal Steel? I mean, Dutch was almost ape-like. He was like a monkey man. He had such long hair on his back that I think one of my favorite memories is we were getting ready to have a match, and Dutch had me shave his back and leave the hair on part of his back that was in the shape of the state of Texas. Yeah, I mean, because he was from, he billed himself as from Oil Trough, Texas, and so we shaved the state of I shaved the state of Texas on Dutch's back. Now, this was a long time ago, before, how people are shaving things and words and pictures in their hair now on their head, but this was back many, many years ago, before that was in vogue, and so I shaved the state of Texas on Dutch's back out of his hair.
Of course,
that's scary for that to be the fondest memory you have of someone in it.
And of course, people know, maybe wrestling fans who don't go as way back to know Memphis Wrestling, but they know New Jerry. But we all know that Dirty Dutch came back to WWE TV recently with the manager of Jack Swagger and Alberto Del Rio, recently. So that's the same guy.
Well, that's been a while. I just saw Dutch put it. I follow Dutch on Twitter, and I just saw that he put, like, how many years ago it's been since he made his debut. I remember it was in Nashville, Tennessee. He came out. He did an interview, and then boom! All of a sudden they signed. Well, I say did an interview. He talked with, I think, Triple H and I'm not sure if Vince was actually in on that. Maybe John Laurinaitis at the time. And And Dutch said, boom, the next thing I knew, he was hired. I remember it was in Nashville, Tennessee, his first night there. And they were back. I told you I always dress in talent relations. And they were trying to come up with a name for Dutch. Mm-hmm. And somebody, I guess he had wrestled as Uncle Zebekiah or something like that before. And so they were cool with the the first name as being Zeb. And then I'm not sure if it was me or who, but I may have been the one that suggested, because it was going to be sort of a political type thing, right? With the, we people and everything, that Ann Coulter, who was this big, she was in the news right at that time. She was a big Republican, and had her own show and all that. And somebody suggested using that's where the last name Coulter came from.
Oh, wow.
It may have been me that suggested that.
So you put Zeb and put Coulter?
I was in the room when the name Zeb Coulter was created. Yeah.
Yeah, Zeb Coulter. Yeah, so people know that Zeb Coulter is Dirty Dutch Mantell and vice versa. So yeah, but I think he was with TNA doing booking and whatnot. I'm not sure if he's still with them or he was let go recently. But he's still heavily involved in professional wrestling. He was up in Cleveland.
And he's a funny and fun guy to follow on Twitter too. I think he may have a couple Twitter handles. I think Dirty Dutch is one of them, and I don't know. There's a couple, but he's a fun follow.
Yeah, I think he had one for WWE stuff and then one for his personal.
Yeah.
Eddie Austin. Obviously, we know Eddie as one of the biggest fans.
Yes.
Well, he is the biggest fan of the podcast and of Jerry the King Lawler.
That's his Twitter handle, King Lawler fan.
Yeah, King Lawler fan. He wants to know, what is the one piece of advice that Jackie Fargo gave the King that he's always remembered and try to carry with him? I think I know the answer to this one.
All right, what do you think it is?
I think it's save your money.
That was one. But I promise, and it's weird. I'll never forget when I first got started. I mean, I was just barely in the business, and he's told me, and this may sound weird, but it has come in handy over the years. He said, "Kid, in this business, you need to know 3 people on a personal basis where they're your friends." And I said, "Who's that?" And he said, "A doctor, a lawyer, and a banker." And it turned out to be true. I at different times in your career, you need to have the services of those 3 individuals on a friendly basis where you can trust them and you don't have to pay for them. And that's the great one of the great friends of my life. I mean, this is still my great friend to this day, even though he's retired, was Dr. Lee Salmons, that I've known for probably 40 years. And once early on in the business, I met him and became friends with him, put him on the wrestling shows several times, and never had to pay for a doctor visit, thanks to Dr. Salmons. And then I had a lawyer friend of mine, Joe Barton, who's been a great friend of mine, done many favors for me over the years, never charged me a dime. And then there's the banker that I knew that helped me out on so many different deals over the years was David Little, and he was a bank manager. And so there was a great piece of advice that it had nothing to do with wrestling, but it had a lot to do with the wrestling business, had a lot to do with life. And that was one of the main things that I remember from Jackie.
Another question from Shell My Bell on Twitter. That's her name. Shell My Bell. She wants to know. Michelle My Bell.
Who's that by?
I do not know. I'm not old enough for that, probably.
Are you serious? That's so sad.
What is it?
Michelle My Bell is a song by the Beatles.
Oh, I'm not a Beatles guy.
Paul McCartney's singing lead on that.
I'm not a Beatles guy. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
You just lost more respect from me there.
Whatever. She wants to know, tell us about the riots that happened as a result of Memphis Wrestling action. She knows there are 2 that I'm aware of. King, have there been riots because of Memphis Wrestling?
Oh my gosh. We had a riot one night. And it almost got us kicked completely out of the Mid-South Coliseum. We had a match one night. I told Jerry Jarrett, I said, I mean, the hottest thing in Memphis, the hottest 2 people in Memphis was me at the time and Handsome Jimmy Valiant. And Handsome Jimmy Valiant had this long blonde hair. And so I said, and you know, there was nothing bigger in Memphis than a hair versus hair match. And of course, I wasn't going to get my hair cut, and Handsome Jimmy was no way he was going to get his hair cut. And so I said, I convinced Jerry Jarrett to book a hair versus hair match. And I said, I'll be able to come up with a finish that will please the people. They won't be upset, and nobody will really get their hair shaved or head shaved. And somehow I talked Jerry Jarrett into booking that match. And then the night came. This was the biggest building. We had 11,500 people in the building, sold out. Everybody thought they were going to see Handsome Jimmy get his head shaved. And so, if I'm not mistaken, we had the scissors and the hair clippers and everything at ringside. And I come out to the ring first, and then all of a sudden they start playing Handsome Jimmy's music, and out he comes on a pair of crutches, right? And he's hobbling out to the ring, and I think there had been ice over, and he supposedly was coming from North Carolina or something. It was in the wintertime. And so he comes out on a pair of crutches, and he's got a doctor's note, right? And he hands this doctor's note to Lance Russell, and I'm looking like, what is this? And he's got his street clothes on, and he hands the doctor's note, and Lance reads this doctor's note, and it says that, unfortunately, I had to see Jimmy Valiant after he slipped on the ice and fell and severely sprained his ankle, and he will be unable to compete in this match tonight. And oh my gosh, the resounding boos where they were crazy. You know, the people were that got them incensed right there. But then I'm like looking at the note. I'm reading the note after Lance has read it to the entire crowd at the Coliseum. I'm like looking down at the note, and then suddenly from behind, Handsome Jimmy hits me with the crutch, busts the crutch over my head, knocks me down, and then starts putting the boots to me. And then he pulls out a pair of scissors, right? Mm-hmm. And he starts cutting my hair, just clipping that at my hair with the scissors, right? And so then they come in, and Bill Dundee, I think, came out and chased Jimmy Valiant out of the ring. And then they dragged me to the back like I'm knocked out, but I've got, some of my hair cut. So in my mind, we gave him a hair cutting, and then Handsome Jimmy was still in the ring. And then Bill Dundee challenged him to take my place in the, in the match. So they went in and had a little bit of a match, and then Handsome Jimmy screwed Dundee some kind of way and won that match. And but then Dundee he tried to cut Dundee's hair, and then Dundee was able to get out of there, and they ran Valiant out of the thing. And then I think a couple of minutes went by, and all of a sudden the people realized, wait a minute, we just got screwed out of a head shaving here. And then all hell broke loose. The people started rioting. He set some of the chairs. They were those metal chairs that had a cushion, a cloth cushion seat on them. Somebody set some of the chairs on fire with a lighter or something and started throwing these metal flaming chairs through the crowd. And the people kicked out the big glass windows on the doors of the front of the Mid-South Coliseum. And so it was a full-fledged riot. Police had to be called out, and then it made the news. The wrestling fans rioted at the Coliseum last night. So that was probably the worst and biggest one. We really almost lost our contract on the Coliseum after that.
All right, King. Final question for this episode of Ask the King Anything. We'll have more of these in the future. We'll sprinkle them in our episode list. JBL Cena fan. That's his Twitter name. He wants to know favorite Batman that's not Adam West, and then he wants to know your least favorite Batman.
Favorite Batman. Of course, Adam West is my favorite Batman. He'll always be Batman to me. I think my favorite Batman, which of course Adam West was from the TV show, and then they started doing the Batman movies, and the first one was my favorite, Michael Keaton. Yeah. After that, simply because he was just like, he was going to be the Batman from the movies. And then of course they followed it up with, George Clooney and
Ben Affleck.
I like Ben Affleck. He's okay. I didn't like Val Kilmer. But my least favorite, I think, is Christian Bale. Yeah. I mean, the voice, this phony voice. I hated that. And then plus, he was always. After I saw him in American Psycho, I couldn't think of him as anything else but that psychotic serial killer, from American Psycho. I just couldn't relate to him as Batman after that.
Which Joker would you prefer? Would you prefer Jack Nicholson or Heath Ledger?
Wow. Two totally different types. I loved Jack Nicholson as the Joker because, he was a more humorous Joker, which I think, and that was the way the campy Batman TV show was, with the Joker from that thing, that show. But oh my gosh, the Dark Knight Joker with Heath Ledger, that was he I don't know. I guess he was the best Joker.
Yeah. I like Jack Nicholson. I just love I know they're two different Jokers, but man, Jack Nicholson's just a great actor.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Like I said, we'll sprinkle in.
I just watched. What was I watching last night? Something's Got to Give. That was a great Jack Nicholson movie.
Yeah, he's always great in anything he does. Well, we'll let you go, King. But before we do, like I said, we'll have more of these Ask the King Anything episodes in the coming future. It is WrestleMania season. King.
WrestleMania is fast approaching. Are we going to talk anything about what I'm doing this weekend?
Yeah, that's what I was leading up to.
I got some wrestling shows coming up, man.
Yeah, you're busy. You have a busy weekend. Well, Friday, what do you got going on?
Well, Friday I'm going to be up near Baltimore, Maryland, wrestling none other than James Ellsworth.
Oh,
James Ellsworth is going to be. Then Saturday I'm going to be in Millington, Tennessee.
Hold on.
What?
The hotline's
Saturday, Millington, Tennessee. That's close to Memphis, man. That's going to be a big match.
Yeah, but before we get to that, the hotline's lighting up here. I think this is James Ellsworth, speaking of the devil. James Ellsworth.
No. How does he get this? How does he get this number?
Well, he was on a show earlier. Remember, he was on a show way back during the summer. He was on, so he has a.
I thought I told you to change the number after we talked to him last time.
No, this is the same number. So James Ellsworth is on the line. James, how are you?
Hey, Glenn, how are you? I'm doing great. Hal here in Glen Burnie, where we're having a show this Friday.
Yeah, so
Glen Burnie, Maryland, right?
Yes, that's where I live. It's the biggest suburb here in the Baltimore area. We have the show at Michael's 8th Avenue this Friday night.
So you live there, and you're having the show right in your own hometown, right?
Yeah, it's the first time I've actually got to do it right in my hometown, and I couldn't think of a better opponent to have than Jerry the King Lawler.
Are you kidding me? I mean, did you just say that seriously or what?
Oh, what do you mean, Jerry? I have a lot of
what it means is it seems like if this is like your first time there in your hometown, it's going to be filled with your friends and family. It seems like you would have wanted somebody as an opponent that you could get a victory over, that you could win in front of all your hometown favorite fans there. Why would you want to face me and be left laying in no telling what kind of condition when the match is over and your friends and family have to probably carry you out of the ring, which won't take much effort because what do you weigh now, James? Anyway.
Oh, I weigh 169 pounds, Jerry.
Woo! 169 pounds.
That's like 3 of me.
Really, Glenn, have you seen James lately? I mean, have you seen how skinny? The only thing that saves him from being figureless is his Adam's apple. I mean, this guy, I've never seen anybody so skinny. No. I mean, if he were a building, he'd be condemned.
Now, Jerry, I mean, he's our guest on the show for a few minutes here to hype the match.
No, he's not our guest. No, he's not our guest. He called us.
Okay. All right.
I was asked to call. Glenn asked me to call, and I'm just calling.
Whoa, no, you came to me.
Wait a minute now, Glenn. So you did ask him to call, right?
No, he asked if he could come on to to promote the match between you two. No. You think I'd be going out seeking James Ellsworth?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, you guys like to do good numbers on the show, right? I thought you wanted me on. I just feel like I'm not invited now.
Oh,
okay.
so you're really in demand, right, James? I mean, you're just that's the kind of thing you're doing these days. I mean, just going around making appearances and helping people's ratings on their TV and podcast and that sort of thing.
I hope people think of me that way. I'm whatever and any way I can.
Hang on there, James. Let me just clue you in on something. No, nobody thinks of you that way.
Jeez, King.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the thing, King. I came on here. I'm trying to be respectful. I'm trying to talk about what an honor it's going to be to step in the ring with you this Friday. And, you seem like you're just not giving me a chance this Friday. You automatically think you're coming into Baltimore, you're coming into Glen Burnie, and you're going to beat me. You think I have no chance, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, because, here's what everybody says about you. They say that James Ellsworth's business is looking up. By that, they mean you're always flat on your back.
You say that, but I'm not always flat on my back. See, nobody gave me a chance to make it to WWE. I made it to WWE. Then when I made it to WWE, nobody gave me a chance against AJ Styles. And I beat AJ Styles, the current WWE champion, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Nobody's given me a chance my whole life. So when people come at me like that, Jerry, and I do have a lot of respect for you, but when people come at me with that, you don't have a chance, you're just going to be looking up at the lights, I love that. I love that you think I don't have a chance. So if and when I defeat you this Friday night, you're going to look back on this and you're going to, you're laughing, see? And you're going to.
No, I'm not laughing. I just get a little choked up there for a second.
Okay. That's okay, Jerry. Again, I respect you. I know you've won more championships in the world of wrestling than anyone in the entire business, in the history of the business. Is that correct? That's correct, right?
Well, I won more championship matches, 168 to be exact, but who's counting? But yeah, I've won more championships than anybody in this industry. Is this going to be some sort of championship match Friday? I'll make it up to 169.
Unfortunately, this is my first match back on the independents. Well, officially my first match back. I've had a few surprise appearances, but for Adrenaline Championship Wrestling, where we're wrestling this Friday, this is my first match back. And like I said, I just thought you'd be a great opponent because I have a lot of respect for you. You've won every championship in the world almost, or more championships than anybody. And, I just thought it'd be a great experience. And I guess you're not taking it that way.
Well, I mean,
I just got to be honest with you. How do you really expect me to look at this match with you as a great experience for me? I'll tell you how it would be a great experience for you. I'll tell you how you make a lot of extra money. Sell some advertising space on the soles of your shoes. And that way, everybody, when you're laying flat on your back, everybody will be able to read the advertisement that you got on the bottom of your boots there. Do you even wear wrestling boots, James?
Oh, yes. I have a red pair of wrestling boots. And, I've, like I said earlier, I've defeated AJ Styles 3 times. He knows those boots very well because I've hit him with a kick numerous times. And maybe if I do put those advertisements on the bottom of my boots, maybe you'll get an up-close personal look at them this Friday.
That sounds like a threat.
Well, I didn't mean to come on here to threat you in any way. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for you. It is, even though the way you're acting right now, it is going to be an honor stepping in the ring with you. You are a legend in the business. And, when I'm your age, I hope I...
Oh, boy, here we go now. Now he's going to talk about age. Now he's going to throw some age jokes in there.
There's no age. It's not a joke. I'm just saying.
You keep wrestling people like me and you won't make it to my age. I promise you that, James.
Okay. All right, Jerry. I understand where you're coming from. Again,
Who's your closest relative that's going to be on hand? Who's your emergency contact?
Well, my children will be on there, but I'm not going to invite my mother or father because I think you might.
I think that's a wise decision.
Might be a little older than they are, so they're probably wondering what I'm doing in the ring with somebody.
Wow. How many children? How many children do you have?
I have 2 little girls, ages 5 and 2.
Well, how many siblings do you have? How many children did your parents produce?
2. Me and my brother. My brother and I.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, and you're not going to invite them to be there, right?
My brother will be on hand, so if you want to meet him, maybe get a photo. Like I said, I was trying to make this like a big event, like just Ellsworth.
Oh, it's going to be a big event. Trust me, it'll be a big event. I'm sure it'll be a big event.
Well, also, James and King, Gilbert is going to be there. Austin Aries is going to be there.
Yeah, current Impact Wrestling champion Austin Aries, who's winning championships all over the world. He might give you a run for your money.
Gilbert is another. Gilbert was like the first James Ellsworth.
Which is ironic because Gilbert and I are actually both from the same area. A lot of people do compare us to each other, and he's from the same area. He'll be on hand this Friday. Austin Aries, like you said, Lawler and myself. A few surprises. Ticket info's at adrenalinewrestling.com. And, yeah, like it's funny you make the comparison to Gilbert. Gilbert, he was around WWF in the Attitude Era for a little bit. It's a different thing with him and I. Yeah, he was out there.
No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Do you not realize? I mean, I was there. You're right. That was. I was doing the commentary when they brought Gilbert in to make a joke of Goldberg. I mean, Gilbert was just a joke, as you were.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to prove. I'm trying to prove that I wasn't a joke. That I'm not. When people look back at James Ellsworth and WWE or wherever I'm going to wrestle now, like right now, you're right. People do look at me as a joke, but I'm going to prove.
I'm not saying that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's the way the WWE used you because they thought they could make money with you. They thought they could create some interest with you, and they did, with Gilbert. So I mean, you shouldn't be ashamed of that. You shouldn't have to go out and try to prove that you're something that you weren't in the WWE.
No, that's what I'm out to prove now. I want to prove that I'm more than that, and it starts this Friday against Jerry the King Lawler, a legend.
Oh, come on, James, just embrace it. Well, just live with it.
Well, King, I got some news for you, King.
What?
Did you know that James is going to be competing for the NWA championship soon?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
know why I didn't know that? Because nobody cares about the NWA championship.
Didn't you wrestle for it a few months ago?
Yeah, and that's when I found out nobody cares about it.
Wow. Jeez.
What?
Oh well, I mean, you're talking. I'm talking about the now NWA championship.
Yeah.
Well, Billy Corgan, he has bought the NWA, and he has big plans for the NWA, and of course,
Billy Corgan, he bought the NWA, proved that he had more money than brains.
Well, you never know.
What did he buy? What did he buy when he bought the NWA? Come on, tell me. What did he buy? Three letters. 3 letters. He could have started his own wrestling company and called it the NWA, and nobody could have said anything. But he went out and bought it.
He wants to buy that rich history. He wants, the championships and, the photo library and the history. The NWA has, and you wrestled in the NWA, King. It has a rich history, and he's trying to bring that prestige back. It's going to take some time. It's not going to happen right away. Like you're right.
Not going to. You're partially right. It's not going to happen. Leave off the right away. Come on, James. You're savvy enough. You're smart enough to know that is never going to happen. Never, ever.
You're not big on giving people chances, King, are you? You're not giving me a chance this Friday. You're not giving the NWA a chance to reemerge. You're just set in your ways. You just think everything is the way you see it, and it's not that way. This is 2018.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's my opinion. I'm just giving you my opinion.
Okay, well, everything's remained to be seen. The NWA, they do have some work to do. They know it. I know it. You know it. And your opinion is it's not going to work out for them. And I gave those guys a chance to make a little some headlines. Here's a guy. I'm wrestling the NWA champion guy, and had I won the NWA championship while under contract to the WWE, oh my gosh, then all of a sudden people would have started talking about it. But didn't happen. So nobody talks about it. Right, well, I wasn't there. I wasn't involved with NWA at the time. So, you're right, though. If you would have won the NWA World Championship, I'll agree with you there. It would have made headlines. People will talk about it. Just like if I won the NWA World Championship, same thing. People will talk about it. It will make headlines. And that, I have a match against Nick Aldis. Happens tomorrow.
Against who?
The NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Nick Aldis. He was Magnus in TNA. And he's a very, very good wrestler. wrestler. He has. I think you would really like him, King. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Nick Aldis. He has the look. He has the talent. He has everything. Like, he looks like a star. He looks like a champion. I think you would really actually really enjoy his work and his look. Nick Aldis. He used to be Magnus in TNA. He's the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
And he's probably the only guy that knows he's the world champion.
Well, he's married to Mickey James, right?
Yes, yep. He's married to Mickey James, which I know to King, that's probably more prestigious than the NWA.
That's his biggest claim to fame right there. He should just go, every time he wrestles, he should say, "I'm the husband of Mickey James."
I knew you would feel that way, King. I just knew it.
All right. Well, James, we'll let this slide and let this go. But Friday, you want to give one more time the info where people can buy tickets if they're in the area?
Sure, yeah. It's at Michael's 8th Avenue this Friday in Glenbury, Maryland. The meet and greet starts at 6:30. Bell time's 8. So 6:30, doors open. It's an hour and a half meet and greet. Bell time's 8 o'clock at Michael's 8th Avenue. AdrenalineWrestling.com is where you can purchase your tickets. And again, Jerry the King Lawler, I know he's an.
You guys don't have. You're not selling tickets at like the local Pizza Hut or something there on the corner.
Well, no, there's ticket outlets in the area, but for people listening,
name one. Come on, I just want to hear. I just want to hear how this goes. Name one ticket outlet in the area.
Well, we got Michael's Jewelers and Marley Station Mall. There we go.
Wait a minute. So Michael's Jewelers. What else?
And Marley Station Mall. It's in the mall. It's a big mall around here. It's a ticket outlet.
So if you want to buy a ticket to this big event, you got to go to Michael's Jewelers in the mall.
What's wrong with Michael's Jewelers?
Nothing wrong with Michael's Jewelers. You just usually don't associate a jewelry store with selling wrestling tickets.
Well, it's in the middle of the mall. The mall is a good area to put up posters and everything. It's where the most traffic is. So, I thought it was a decent area to sell tickets. This show's looking to do real well, and a lot of that is because you'll be appearing on the show, and I'll admit that. I will never not admit that you're a legend and you're a draw, and I respect everything you've done. I'll always admit that. And I know you're an antagonist. You're probably the greatest antagonist of all time. And I am looking forward to stepping in the ring with you this Friday. But I think you're taking me a little lightly, and you don't think I have a chance to do it, Jerry.
Did you just say that? Did you just say, I'm taking you a little lightly? After telling us you weigh 168 pounds? You got to walk by somebody twice to cast a shadow. Come on. It's crazy. I am taking you a little lightly, and I am trying to be an antagonist because it's no fun. It's no fun fighting your friends. It's no fun wrestling a guy that if you go up there and everybody's trying to figure out who they like and who they don't like and who they're going to be for and who they want to win this match. So I fully expect everybody in that building to be behind James Ellsworth. I fully expect for everybody to want to see James Ellsworth beat the King. But sadly, it's not going to happen. So all of those people are going to – poor old what's his name, Mike the Jeweler? What is it? Mike? He's going to be sad. He's going to have people in there, watches and rings back and all this sort of stuff and trying to get a refund on their ticket after you lose the big match there in your hometown.
Well, like I said, King, I'm glad you're giving me no chance, but I'm going to prove you this Friday at AEW Adrenaline Championship Wrestling that any man with two hands has a fighting chance.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, James.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on. Appreciate it. See you this Friday.
See you Friday.
All right. So that was James Ellsworth.
Was I a good enough antagonist for him?
Jeez, King, you were. I thought James was going to cry.
Oh, come on.
No, that'll be a fun match on Friday. So
it will be. And I don't want to get up there and, like I said, I don't want to get up there and have people trying to decide who they want to be for. I want them to be for James Ellsworth in his hometown.
Yeah. Well,
when I was playing football in, I think, junior high was when I first realized I enjoyed going on a road trip and winning on the road when the fans were against you. When the parents for all the players were out there, it was more enjoyable to win those matches on the road. And just like, and it's always been that way for me, and being that's the difference in wrestling and sports. You don't have the home field advantage. So that's why you got good guys and bad guys. So people have somebody cheer for and somebody cheer against. And probably in Maryland on Friday, I'll be the bad guy.
There you go.
But in Saturday in Millington,
yeah.
I'll be the fan favorite there, hopefully.
Yeah,
that's right here near Memphis.
And then
Sunday. Hey, and Sunday I'm going to be in Reading, Pennsylvania. Man, I'm really busy this weekend. We got the Reading Royals hockey game. I'm going to be appearing at this Sunday at 5:00 in Reading, Pennsylvania.
So you're going to be up in Baltimore, and then go back home to Tennessee on Saturday, and then go back up to the Baltimore area because Reading, Pennsylvania is only a couple hours away from there. So you're going to be, you're going to be a busy weekend of travel.
Like back in the old days, travel every single day. Yeah.
Instead of driving, but
then hopefully
flying.
after that, I think I get to go to Florida for a few days after that to our condo down there.
Well, there you go. King needs to relax.
It all makes there's a payoff at the end.
Hey, what are you doing for WrestleMania? I mean, obviously you're going to be doing the Hall of Fame, correct?
Hopefully, be doing the Hall of Fame, and once again, I don't know yet. Everything's last minute, which is the way I love it.
Right.
But I'd love to get the chance to call a match at WrestleMania again. That would be fun. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But then I'm doing some signings and stuff down in New Orleans the day before Hall of Fame, and the day before WrestleMania as well.
Are you doing WrestleCon?
Yeah, WrestleCon.
WrestleCon. Okay,
yeah.
So you're doing WrestleCon. Okay. Yeah. All right, so we'll have more information as WrestleMania season approaches. King, any final words?
Final last words. No, we'll just have to check in next week, and we're going to have to give a detailed report on what all went on over the weekend with these matches and shows this weekend.
If you come back a loser to James Ellsworth, I don't know if we can do the podcast anymore.
Oh, it'll be worse than your wisdom tooth.
It'll be way worse. Losing to James Ellsworth?
You can't let that happen.
You can't let that happen, King. We'll find out next week what happens to the King as he faces James Ellsworth this weekend. Until then, we'll talk to you.
That's the way the Batman show used to always leave. Yeah. And what will happen. Tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Will James Ellsworth give Jerry Lawler sweet chin music? Or will the King deliver the final pile driver? Find out next week here on Dinner with the King.
The preceding show is a Pod Avenue production.